Six Roles of the School Librarian, David Robinson. Presented at the Site Conference, March 2023. David Robinson is from Towson University. Overview. The abrupt switch from traditional K-12 classroom learning to remote learning during the COVID-19 pandemic compelled school librarians to be technology innovators, while simultaneously transitioning school library instructional programs and literacy initiatives to accommodate a new paradigm. This presentation presents the context and results of an ongoing study focused on examining the impact of COVID-19 pandemic online learning and technology initiatives on K-12 library programs and the roles of the school librarian. Data gathered to date support a new school librarian role of innovator that emerged during the pandemic to support the 5 existing school librarian roles identified by the American Association of School Librarians. School librarians serve a vital role in 21st century schools as leaders of innovation. The American Association of School Librarians has identified the following 5 roles for school librarians: teacher, instructional partner, information specialist, program administrator, and leader. This ongoing research study has examined the impact of pandemic-induced transition from face-to-face to online learning initiatives on K-12 school libraries and the role of school librarians. By embracing the rapid deployment of pandemic-induced technologies, school librarians served as innovators by guiding students and teachers to meet the demands of the near instantaneous switch from face-to-face to online learning. Data collected in the first phase of this research study supported the emergence of a new 6th school librarian role of innovator. The next phase of the study will examine if the 6th school librarian role has had permanency with a return to face-to-face instruction. The role of innovator is supported by Rogers' Diffusions of Innovations, which serves as a conceptual framework for the study. Rogers defined an innovation as an idea, practice, or project that is perceived as new by an individual or other unit of adoption. A focal innovation in this study was the sudden switch in K-12 from face-to-face to fully online learning at the inception of the pandemic. School librarians in states with pandemic-related school closures had new responsibilities related to the instantaneous innovation of K-12 fully online learning. The Diffusions of Innovations framework supports the consequences of an innovation, in this case a forced initiative, may result in participants to be driven towards that innovation. Consequences are the changes that occur in an individual social system as a result of the adoption or rejection of an innovation. Robinson 2009 describes in the following practical terms the hierarchy of types of individuals that support diffusion of innovation. Innovators. The adoption process begins with a tiny number of visionary, imaginative innovators who lavish great time, energy, and creativity on developing new ideas and gadgets. The early adopter. Once the benefit starts to become apparent, early adopters leap in. They are on the lookout for a strategic leap forward in their lives or businesses and are quick to make connections between clever innovations and their personal needs. Early majority. Assuming that the product or behavior leaps the chasm, it may eventually reach majority audiences. Early majorities are pragmatists, comfortable with moderately progressive ideas, but won't act without solid proof of benefits. The late majority, they are conservative pragmatists who hate risk and are uncomfortable with your new idea. Practically, their only driver is the fear of not fitting in, hence they will follow mainstream fashions and established standards. Laggards. Meanwhile, laggards hold out to the bitter end. So the purpose. Supporting K-12 pandemic online learning resulted in investments in one-to-one computing devices, for example, Chromebooks, software, online learning applications, learning platforms, online curriculum, and enhanced technology infrastructure. This study explores if these investments compelled school librarian innovation, and if so, whether the role of the school librarian as innovator has been sustained with a return to face-to-face learning. Literature review, the evolutionary roles of the school librarian. Over the past 56 years, the school librarian's instructional role was described in several landmark publications, including Standards for School Library Programs, 1960, Standards for School Media Programs, 1969, and in Media Programs, District and School, 1975. In Information Power Guidelines for School Library Media Programs, 1988, 4 interwoven roles of the library media specialists were identified. These roles were instructional partner, information specialist, teacher, and program administrator. In the same era, emphasis on the integration of information into student learning became more prominent. The role of leader was added, resulting in the 5 roles of the school librarian. Within the framework of these 5 roles, school librarians have continually adapted to changes in the field of school librarianship and evolving technologies. Subramaniam et al. In 2012 examined the role of the school librarian in science, technology, engineering, and math initiatives, proposing that libraries become active participants in STEM learning. Wine in 2016 noted school librarians were entering another period of radical change as they combine their information specialist roles with technology integration. The school library makerspace movement incorporated the concepts of design thinking and coding into collaborative learning spaces for designing, creating, and building. Woods and Hugh explored the implementation of design thinking in school libraries as supportive mode for STEM learning. Changing roles and responsibilities. Despite the evidence of the adaptability of school librarians to 21st century learning innovations, no one could have predicted the adaptive skills that all educators would need during the COVID-19 pandemic. The swift transition in the spring of 2020 to online learning in many states placed school librarians on the forefront of providing professional development for teachers, troubleshooting technology issues for parents and students, and addressing other unforeseen technology issues while trying to maintain instructional school library media programs. Innovators. The school library professional learning community responded by providing innovative pandemic-related guidance to school library programs. The AASL was proactive in publishing the School Librarian Role in Pandemic Learning Conditions, a web-based adaptive table providing suggested tasks for distance and blended learning strategies to meet varied pandemic school system initiatives correlated with the 5 roles. Collaborative dispositions of school librarians were evident when 35 nationwide school librarians collaborated in developing a crowdsourced pandemic resource ebook titled A Digital Librarian Survival Toolkit. School Library Journal published the results of a survey noting multiple positive actions school librarians provided in the first 6 months of the pandemic, including modes of collaboration, building relationships with students, and taking on technology innovation. These school librarian initiatives during the pandemic provide evidence of the emergent role of innovator. The following themes were derived via data collected from school librarians and school library media coordinators from Mid-Atlantic Public Schools. The school librarians were completing practicum experiences as part of a higher education certification program while serving in the role of school librarian. Data were gathered from practicum reflection, open-end interviews, and discussions with school librarians. Some context in the results. 2 of the librarian participants were employed by urban schools, 9 in rural schools, and 18 in suburban schools. 3 local school systems supervisors were involved in the interviews or small group discussions. In the fall 2020, the schools involved in the data collection were fully remote. A transition to blended learning occurred in the spring 2021, and face-to-face learning resumed in summer 2021. The first phase of data collection during fully remote learning was in the spring of 2020. None of the schools engaged in the study had engaged in one-to-one student-to-device initiatives or remote learning prior to the pandemic. The focus of the discussions was prompted by the questions, how have COVID-19 school technology initiatives impacted the roles of the school librarian? So the data timeline. In the spring 2020, the librarians described their primary responsibilities as inventorying and distributing Chromebooks, serving as student-parent help desk on technology issues, providing technical assistance, and providing professional development to teachers on the use of web-based applications. By the fall 2020, all the librarians were also engaged in instruction, with elementary librarians meeting with classes on a fixed schedule. In spring 2021, the responsibilities for 2020 continued, and technical issues subsumed more school librarians' time as learning transitioned to blended instruction, that is, teacher teaching half their class in person while the other half joined at home. A lack of sufficient bandwidth in schools to support blended learning resulted in teachers seeking school librarians' assistance to address technical issues such as students losing connectivity from home and communication issues between classroom teachers and students attending remotely. In the spring 2021, secondary librarians were struggling in securing classroom teachers for collaborative instruction in the realms of research and information literacy. With each student having an internet-connected device in hand, some classroom teachers were comfortable conducting research projects from the classroom without involving the school librarian. In the summer 2021, for limited summer school sessions, and in the fall 2021, all schools involved in the study resumed 100% face-to-face instruction. The predominant challenge for school librarians was the collection of Chromebooks in the summer of 2021 and the redistribution of devices in the fall 2021. Some devices were returned inoperable, and the ordering and delivery of new devices were backlogged due to manufacturing delays. Professional development and technical assistance continued for teachers. In the spring and fall of 2022, by the fall 2022, responsibility for distributing and inventorying devices and facilitating repair requests continued to be a primary issue. A local supervisor noted that hardware management was still a huge responsibility and asked in a discussion setting, "What are higher education programs doing to prepare school librarian graduates to deal with Chromebook issues?" This and many other questions can be raised by the pandemic-induced shift in school librarian responsibilities, potentially having long-term implications for school librarianship preparation and practice. The next steps. The next phase of research will be a mixed method study inclusive of the survey instrument, continued interviews, and case study research. Data collection will include a survey of school librarians that will be administered to have them self-assess their roles before, during, and after online learning in relation to the types of individuals outlined in Rogers' Diffusions of Innovations. Interviews querying school librarians as to their roles before, during, and after the pandemic will be conducted and analyzed for common themes. The next phase will build on the foundation of data collected for the spring 2020 in support of the following questions. How have COVID-19 pandemic school technology initiatives impacted the roles of the school librarian? Are emergent roles, e.g., for example, the role of innovator identified in the preliminary research phase of this study permanent? Some scholarly significance. The scholarly significance of an expanded study includes seeking to determine if there's been a permanent shift in existing school librarian roles, or have new roles emerged because of the pandemic online learning initiatives. Additional scholarly significance of the study would be a gateway to further study of how school librarians are utilized at the school and school system levels, how school librarians adapt traditional roles to new challenges, solution strategies for cooperative teaching in post-pandemic one-to-one era, improving ways school librarians, higher education programs prepare candidates in the post-pandemic era, and implications on staffing. Here is a list of references. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me.